now, so I went home to my first house and then I'm like, okay, we'll make the track down to my old place that I still got for a week or so and get where the NBN is and do a stream for you guys. I will be streaming from my new house though, pretty much exclusively from next week when I'm back from Singapore. I will be streaming on on Wednesday and Thursday, unfortunately, because I'm in Singapore. But I will stream tonight and tomorrow night, and then I'll be back on Monday and streaming from the new house, which is a new unit. Sorry, just better situated. Little upgrade, keep us motivated and force us to keep working due to the rent in Sydney being ridiculous. But market-wise, and I was sick last week, remember guys, so this is our first full day back watching the market and trying to get sort of to grips with who's in control, what's happening. You definitely saw a risk-on sort of feel today, and that's come through in a lot of the price action so far, which is dollar yen grinding higher, breaking above the previous high on Friday. So what you saw, this is actually really bullish. If you're looking at what happened on Friday, the market's in a downtrend, selling, North Korea, yada yada yada. CPI numbers, oh, what's going to come out? CPI, is it going to be strong or weak? Comes out weak, market finds support, bounces back up, day highs, then settles down under pressure towards 109. Then opens on Monday after no new news, bit of a short covering, breaks that fresh high, settles down, then continues to rally, and we've continued to rally into Europe as well. So that puts 110 back on the cards, is where there'll be a little bit of stops above 110. Market's short, wanting it to go lower. Be a bit surprised if it breaks 110. Definitely can break 110. Probably going to need a little bit more than just a short covering though, and the lack of negative news is not really the main reason to buy something, surely. But broadly speaking, dollar yen has been beaten down. And euro yen, pound yen, those buys, they're lurking, so you can definitely see some euro yen and pound yen support. Euro yen not so much after it's taken a little beating in the start of the European session, the pound here, but definitely the euro and the euro yen have been strong on dips today, and that's a really nice recovery, 128 to 129.50 so far on the euro yen. Remember, if you look at the broader euro yen, it's that pullback was just a small little correction in a huge trend since 115. So it was due a little bit of a pullback anyway. But you can see the dip buys are pretty aggressive on that pair when they get in, and the euro's back above 118. So it's where's the euro right now? So let me check that, boys. Don't want to tell you it's above 118 and it's not. Okay, it's still just holding above it. It's okay. So yeah, a little bit of risk on. The market's not so worried about North Korea right now. I think you might get a couple of days reprieve because the weekend was no new news. Perhaps if something happens next couple of days though, they have warned that they're going to test another missile, send it out towards Guam, North Korea, and then Trump's threatened that they're going to do something pretty serious if they do that. That's where you'll get the selling coming back, but to me it was never the end of days. It was just a catalyst which could get the stock market selling, and that's why you had the risk off a few days. But stocks didn't fall that much. Stocks only fell 400 pips. It's nothing, and considering it's up 4,000 pips since Trump got in, then you really can't be too excited by that if you're a bear. We can still definitely get some more selling coming through though. I mean, the market also, if you fail now at 2200, there can be bigger talk that the short-term top's in. So it can just technically fail and then roll over and search for a deeper pullback. That's fine too. And that would coincide probably with a euro rally towards 120 and a dollar yen push back towards 108, and that would be euro testing 120 at the same time the dollar yen's testing 108. Makes a little sense. Probably Aussie testing 80 cents as well in that scenario, and the pound depends if the pound gets left behind by the euro. Otherwise, if that happens, then euro pound's a lot higher, but pound it probably is going to go with the euro. and would be 132-ish in that environment, guys. But let's not count our chickens till it's hatched. Although we had that weak CPI number, and it makes sense now that we take the next leg lower in the dollar index. Remember where the dollar index is, and it held so far. That's the 2016 low, right? And that's 2015 low. So the dollar index has held so far down here, and that CPI number is just a monthly number, and if it takes its time, then the market probably is not going to put too much emphasis on it. But it's pretty negative, right? But the reason why probably dollar yen didn't go lower is already low. If the dollar yen was above 110, you probably would have seen dollar yen break 110 on the back of that number. But the dollar yen had already broken 110 on the back of the risk off trade throughout the week, so it wasn't really in a mood to go lower on Friday night. But really, that weak CPI number sort of cemented markets' view that Fed's are going to be in no rush to raise rates, opening up the door for Bank of England talk or ECB talk, which is the main one you have to be watched about. ECB talk is the next big thing, right? September meeting. Jackson Hole in a couple of weeks. Jackson Hole is central bankers meeting in America, and if Draghi is going to unleash a big new tapering plan or something new in the tapering world, remember tapering is only done after you've done quantitative easing. Quantitative easing has not been done that many times in the world, and so how they stop, how they do tapering, each bank can put a spin on it, and you might get announcements at this Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole's been the place in the past where you've seen QE2, QE3, or twists, and a few little large moves come from the Jackson Hole meeting. So yeah, Euro Yen is where I'm long on dips at the moment. I'm looking for a pullback towards that 129 level. I think that while we have no new news, that Euro and the dollar yen's going to be fine, but we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on it. That you got to have stops, because the headline risk is real these days, and we could be unlucky enough to be witness to a tragic accident or a spark that starts a flurry of a small, probably short war that would be quite devastating potentially if someone set off a nuclear bomb. And so that, how much is that worth in the stock market? 2,000 points, 3,000 points, 4,000 points. Dollar yen, how much is it worth if a nuke goes off in South Korea? 95, 100. I'm talking yen. I'm talking down 1,000, 1,500 points, maybe more. I don't know. I mean, you have to be pretty open to the idea, and stops aren't gonna help after the effect, right? I mean, maybe for the first 100 pips, things are fine, right? But then if you're trying to close in the market, your broker's just offline on the yen pairs, then you've got a problem, yeah. And you can't really argue with anyone in the forex world. Okay, so be very careful. Be careful. This is not this is as close as I've ever seen the world to a potential nuclear conflict. And I mean, it would be a mistake probably if something happened, right? But mistakes happen. That's where you got to be a little unsure with yourselves. Now Euro Swiss. Now the Euro Swiss, thank you, Cherry's Trader, is in a very strong uptrend. So selling it is not the preferred way. And since the resumption here of the uptrend after it tested 112.50, so 112.60, you can't be looking to sell again unless you're very much selling on risk, safe haven buying. So in this sort of environment, you don't go looking to sell that unless you really think that there's something coming here between North Korea and America in the next day, right? Because otherwise, well, this is a very strong uptrend, and this is a perfect dip, and the buyers have regained control, and so the initial target's the 115 level. But these traders who are in here looking for 117, 119, and eventually 120, that big breakdown level. So yeah, this is no. If you're talking about selling this based upon fundamentals, then maybe, because Swiss franc will be in demand if something sets off, but it's not the best way to express that at all. Long gold's much better. There's a few trades which are a lot better. Now, if I told you that US futures are higher, alright, and you've been watching me for a while, US futures are higher, and dollar yen's up 60 points on the day since the open, what do you think gold's done today? Yeah, 60 points higher on the stocks and 60 points higher on dollar yen. What do you think gold's done? Let's have a little look. Yeah. Okay, you can still see the little trade that I did. Good. Okay, so this is instructive. Yeah, you can see here I sold up here and I closed here. Now, why did I sell here? Okay, was it because it failed at 1290? Blah blah blah. No, right? It's because stocks were higher. This is the 1300 times, say, right? Just a little bit after 1300. Stocks were higher. Dollar yen opened higher. Just broke above this last highs, and gold hadn't yet fallen. And I was sitting there and I'm like, well, gold hasn't got the memo yet that nothing happened on the weekend, and it's time for a little bit of profit taking. So selling gold in this scenario was on the back that it will play catch up. Now, it's not like I'm selling gold because I'm thinking everything's going to be okay. I'm just talking about that sort of market catching up, and maybe it needed just a little bit of push coming through from the European session, and it ended up needing that to get down. But that reasoning was that dollar yen had gone up, stocks had gone up, but gold hadn't fallen yet. Like it wasn't, and these are all part of the same trinity. And so this was a high probability trade, but this is straight up a correlation trade, and you'll end up doing a fair bit of this if you trade with multiple charts and you start to trade a little bit of correlations every now and again. And that was just like a gimme sort of trade. Didn't have to work out. Sometimes gold supply and demand things are unique to itself, and there might be just so much buying of gold and pent up demand that they're going to just break 1300 without a North Korea testing a new missile. It's just going to happen anyway, and the reason wasn't going down, was just too much buying. But that's fine. That's the risk you take in any sort of trade. Yeah. No sirens, but there's a lot of construction work, so you're going to hear some new sounds kitschy. And what is a little bit concerning is I'm a little lower. Where I am now, I'm level 23. Where I'm there is it's a much better location and nicer apartment, but it's on level 6, and it's right on the corner. And on the below, there's a walking cross section, a pedestrian walk, and it goes off every 5 minutes. I didn't hear it when I inspected it. Now I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned because I like to keep my windows open, and that's why you can hear the sirens anyway. And it's probably too loud to ignore when I'm sleeping, so I did not do my due diligence. Everything's super nice apart from the construction work, which is temporary, but the pedestrian, Jesus, that's going to be it might end up chipping away at my head, and then I just snap and someone chops down the pedestrian poll during the night. But yeah, I mean, I can just at the end of the day close my door. It's just not ideal. They've got big soundproof windows. Alright, back to the market. Let's have a look at what's coming up. Well, what was already this week. We did see some stronger than expected retail sales from New Zealand. Helped New Zealand have a little bit of a bounce, but then you had weaker industrial production from China and retail sales from China, and that's led to a little bit of pressure here on the Aussie dollar throughout the second half of the Asian session, and that's spewed across onto the Kiwi dollar. Also, US dollars in general pushing back, so it's very hard for the Aussie to catch a trick at the moment. It was doing nice actually with the risk on recovery, but now it's struggling again. And also that weak US dollar from the CPI numbers. But yeah, it's a little mixed, the Aussie. It's hard to be super bearish, but it's definitely hard to be as bullish as we were 2 weeks ago. I think in the back of your mind, you got to be worried that Trump's ramping up potential sanctions against China sooner rather than later, and that's just a headache for the Aussie that'll be hard to ignore. Seems like something's in the works right now regarding Chinese intellectual property theft. Now that's the beginning, of potentially bigger moves. The investigation anyway probably could lead to sanctions. And while it's not immediate, it's still something to be dangerous about. Euro yen, first off, we need to get in Q1. We are not in yet. We're just waiting for a little bit of a better level, and then we got to get past 130. So 130 is just the initial target to get past. Looks pretty. If we can get past that, we can see if we can, get past the previous all-time, cycle highs. Cycle highs, not all-time high, guys. If you're trading Euro yen and you're wondering how high it can go, this is like the base camp for Mount Everest, because this bad boy has 166, another 3,000 pips in it. 3,000 pips, and 1,500 pips just to get to the 2014 levels. So yeah, the Euro recovery, if it happens and continues to happen, tapering and raising rates eventually, then yeah, 140, 145 is really achievable next year. Let's check the news. See what's new. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. What have you got for us? Stay bearish on the pound into the year end. Okay, let's see why. Jerry's shorting Aussie CAD. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense actually. Dollar CAD's really good sell. Dollar CAD's one of my little sneaky little trades to get into. Forgot about it. I haven't done enough prep work on it. So remember we talked about it though. We want that squeeze, and then we're looking to sell. Maybe it's come early. CAD CPI Friday. Oil back below 50 on Friday too. See, oil was a bit mixed on Friday. That was pretty heavy selling. Alright, we'll play it by ear. We'll see what the US dollar little bounce does today. 128 would be great. 128.50-ish would be fantastic. Yeah, but I am open up to selling lower if the US dollar starts to come back under pressure. I think Canada's sort of a little bit outside the North Korea scope as well. I don't think they'll be dragged into that too much either. Not as much as Australia anyway, obviously. And so Aussie CAD short is a really good way of expressing that. I think that the dollar CAD just generally though is not even a bad trade by itself to be looking to sell for the resumption of the downtrend. Yeah, Aussie CAD, interesting. Probably Kiwi CAD too. Sure. So they're looking to buy a put 125 at about 120 pips. So the break even is 123.80. So they're not. I mean, they're looking for a huge move if it's going to go down much further than that in 6 months. The US was a little bit stronger. I could be more bearish on the pound. So the worst case scenario for the pound remains talks breaking down. The flip side is speedy agreement on the divorce bill. So the divorce bill is like that $40 billion bill. And the rights of the EU citizens, which seems to be a sticking point. And I suppose in the backdrop of that you do have if the Bank of England wants to end up raising. But they've seemed very hesitant so far, haven't they? This is quite a big report, boys. I won't go into it too much. I'll look at it myself. Yeah, I'm interested in it, but it's not. It's going to get a bit wordy. Let's have a look at Deutsche Bank's latest on the dollar yen. Let's see what they feel here. I do believe Citibank went long today. So if they're still, I think the long term. I mean, these guys used to be 125 on dollar yen this year. So obviously they've changed that view probably recently. They retain their forecast dollar yen is going to reach 115, 120 into 2018. On an optimistic assumption that geopolitical risk will not be realised and the basic view of the US economy will remain strong. We still believe dollar yen bulls, including us, have to wait patiently for now. Yeah. The story of the life for the dollar yen. Got to be patient. But yeah, you have to be happy if you're bullish on what's happened so far today. Really had a nice day. 110 now is has to get back above that, and that's no mean feat for this pair. 110 is not going to be easy. Let's have a look at charts that matters. Goldman Sachs over the weekend. This is one of my favourite reports actually. I haven't looked at it for a while. Did send it to my clients today, but I just only had a small squiz at the opening chart, which is the strong and stronger chart. Wait for it to download. Alright, what we got here? So the bonds, the gilts, and the US 10 years, strong and then stronger. You know, bonds are getting stronger. Yeah, it means that the yields are going lower. So, you know, in terms of that, how far away are we from 2.3% now, which is that line in the sand for dollar yen strength. If you watch me for a while, you know what I'm talking about with those. 2.1, so I mean, I was away last week and I thought we would be lower than that now. I thought it would be lower than that with what going on. So this is, there is a chance here we get back a little bit higher than, you know, some people are probably thinking that the sky's falling in for the US dollar. But you know, it's just to sort of slow down their view. It's not the end of the world to have slowish inflation. It just means that rate hikes are not coming as quick, but inflation has been volatile. It's only I believe the start of this year where we got that 0.5% flash, that number, the 0.4% month on month. So the commodity currencies, Aussie CAD and Kiwi. It's no surprise that oil's in that group as well. So yeah, that was interesting last week when you saw that fresh high. This is as the Fire and Fury comments came out, and then new low. And that was they're always going to lead to a sell-off when you see that. And VIX went berserk. Now VIX is a trade that I was in, a lot of my clients were in, because it was at all-time lows, and it was sort of ridiculous because it can't go much lower, right? It can't go much lower. It can go down maybe to 9. Yet if something happened, it was going to pop, you know, 15 to 20. And something happened and it popped up. I mean, it was like a give me a free money sort of exchange. It just didn't know when it was going to happen. It might have waited another 3 months. But you know, eventually it was going to happen. It was just that it happened relatively soon. Yeah, it was under, well, trading close to 10 for something like 20 days. Faisal, like right now. God, Jesus. You want me to get? You want me to just? There's a trade here. Yeah, there's a trade here. Let's put it up a little bit so we'll get entered. All right. You want to buy the Euro on a pullback. All right. 120. 129.20. I've got mine at 129.10. But you can even enter at spot if you want. I just want to be a little bit safe here. Buy on a pullback, yeah. Stop underneath 129, 128.80. That's the trade that I'm looking to do. You can also look to buy dollar yen on the dip. That's fine as well. This is a trade which is going to work as long as there's not big issues coming between America and South Korea immediately. Yeah, if things settle down, then there's a chance here for a bit of a 2-day, 3-day rally. But yeah, I'm not just going to enter trades straight at the moment, guys. I'm not. I traded a lot in the last couple of weeks, yeah. So this month's trading history so far hasn't been too bad. You just got to wait sometimes for trades. I don't trade every day. I mean, I don't close trades every day. I don't open trades every day. Most of the time I've got a trade open here. The last one was the Aussie Kiwi, which we closed before the RBNZ. So yeah, we'll be doing some trades. Yeah, the Euro Yen will be fine in my world. And looking to sell dollar CAD. Okay, let's put a dollar CAD in at 120. Sell limit here, dollar CAD. Just do it. Just go to DAX. Go fucking nuts. I actually want to buy the DAX too, so we should go looking for trouble. Hey? Golly gosh, why not? Why not? DAX is really safe, guys. No one's ever lost money trading DAX. Went berserk this morning, did it? Oh god, we missed it. Yeah, it was pretty good buying at 12. It already fallen back significantly from 13. So yeah, probably the safe-ish money is the sort of buying when it gets going on the DAX can give you a couple hundred points relatively safe. Now it's you got to compete against the sort of beginnings of a downtrend. So I'm not chasing here, but if you were a bit more on the ball this morning buying DAX immediately at the open, that was not a bad trade, because it's not about 40 points. This trade's not about 60 points. It's about 200. DAX regularly goes like that. So the initial gap is a good solid sign that you've got that potential there. Alright guys, that's enough ranting and raving today. It's good to be back and healthy. I'm not 100%, but I'm 95%. And it was good sort of just to get back in sync with the market, see what's happening here. Keep on your toes though. If Trump or Trump or Kim has got something to say, then you got to respond quickly. Yeah, got to be able to get out of any sort of trade you're in that's involved at all in that circle. So anything that's yen or gold, you got to get. I trade VXX, which is ETN, which is like an ETF. Yeah, I got the we opened up that new account, right? I've got a couple of accounts to add to my FX book. I just don't have any in public, I don't think, or maybe I do. Yeah, the top traded contest account thinks at 130% up with all positions closed, so that was alright. Trying out a new broker now, seeing how it rolls. I'll give you a bit of a review of it actually once I finish it. Yeah, I don't know about GJ though. GJ is a bit more dangerous. GJ is really you gotta work for your money. I don't know. GJ, I think you can get a bit more into trouble than the UJ and the Euro Yen and Dollar Yen is a bit safer than Pound Yen. Yeah, Pound Yen is a bit of a sick puppy. you know, obviously it's got to do okay if the market turns, but the pound itself is a little bit, you know, still on the back foot still since the Bank of England. So this is, you know, not like the euro, which is strong. This is, the major is a bit weak, and with dollar yen not exactly super strong, then pound yen is not the safest way of playing this, unless you have a reason to think Brexit's going to change direction and they're going to come through with some deals soon, and that doesn't seem like it's happening at all. So yeah, pound yen is probably not really on the cards yet. But we'll see. I'll be back tomorrow, guys, and if you want me to look at pairs, just send me a little message. Yeah, we'll have a look. What numbers the kimchi?